sometimes the way that I've come to speak about spiritual shit is sometimes using terms that are a little bit more broadly but commonly known. So like spirit sometimes could be used in place of God or creator or whatever. But for me, I think in the thoughts of thinking about lacing your narrative with a spiritual thread, I think spirit is that which is like that lives within you, and also outside of you. It is the thing that's between you and me. It is that which like connects everything. In some ways, I feel like it's maybe a translucent kind of netting, if you will. But I think it's kind of a cohesive agent, that kind of pulls everything together. You know, everyone, everything, and I think to me, spirituality is just being able to live in the awareness that that exists. And knowing that that exists, how does it impact the way that we interact with one another, how we interact with the earth, how we interact with ourselves? And sometimes there might be some sort of mystical, magical woo-woo power in spirits. I don't know. But I think it just kind of depends on that moment. So oftentimes spirit to me is a more general term that might have a lot of different understandings. One of the things that I've come to understand as a queer trans person that grew up very religious and very much seeking God, and was a total Jesus lover, and then kind of getting to a place in which I was no longer compatible or thought to be compatible with that setting as a queer person, as a person living with HIV, all those sorts of things. I started to believe or act as if my spirit was gone, or like I had no spirit all of a sudden, or that which connected me to you no longer existed. And so I think a lot of it is just being able to go back, and like sometimes it's about going back in time, sometimes it's about going into the future, and sometimes it's about looking in my now and seeing where is spirit and where can I see it? Like, for instance, I could see that like there was a little bit of spirit in that ecstasy that I popped in my 20s, and the dance club that I got to go to kind of shake away the difficulties of life. To me, I felt like that was a gift from God when I could no longer access God, and the clubs and the dance floors and the fabulous people that were there really helped me to be able to like live into my queerness and own my queerness and be proud of my queerness and celebrate my queerness. And I think that's ideally something that would happen in church or happen in a spiritual space. And so though the environments changed and the people in with which I was with, the spirit was always there. And it is always there. The spirit also could just be a higher sense of self or a higher self, or, so I think it all just kind of depends. But I think for me, lacing that narrative with a spiritual thread is being able to go through our lifespan and just noticing, and remembering that spirit in all its forms was present always. And just because I didn't see it doesn't mean it wasn't there. And so it's also, I think, a point of integration, of being able to get to a space. I really want to be able to bring all of who I am wherever I am. And much of my life, I didn't live as if that was true. And I didn't have the capacity to be aware of all those things all at once, because I felt they were so incompatible with the world in which I was a part of. And so you're just working to continue to be able to see the much of me as possible at one time.